It's taco night, but instead of beef, we're using hard tofu. So for our taco seasoning, we'll be using coriander seeds, paprika, garlic, cumin, and fennel. But first, we need to prep the tofu. Okay, so we'll just get this out of the pack first. So we're going to want one block, or about 300 grams of hard tofu. So we're going to get this into little cubes, roughly 1 by 1 inch. And 6, cool. And we'll set that aside. And then really quickly, I am just going to dry these out to remove any excess moisture. So I'll be right back. All right. Okay, let me just press this dry. This is hard tofu, so a lot of the moisture has already been removed, or there isn't much moisture to begin with, so I won't need to pat this for any long period of time, just to get, I'm just patting it to remove a lot of the surface moisture, which there's a bit, but not too much. This way, I'm going to come across. Cool, so that's the tofu all cut up, but first we've got to toast our spices. So we're going to dump this in over a medium heat. That's not medium. That's medium. Cool. And right now I'm only having to toast the dry spices, the pre-ground spices. I should mention when you're toasting spices, you only toast pre-ground pre-ground spices. And in here I've got my coriander, my fennel, and my cumin. Okay, cool. So now that the spices are toasted, I'm going to dump this into my mortar and pestle. And I can now grind it. So what you're looking for is to grind this into a powder. You can obviously use a spice grinder, but I just prefer to use a mortar and pestle. It's easier to clean up. And so this is generally what you're looking for. You're looking for it to be in a bit of a powdery consistency, not completely powdery. Obviously if you were using a spice grinder, it would be a lot more finer than this, but this is good. This is round about what you're looking for. Awesome, and with that done, we can now head over to the fry pan and fry some tofu. Okay, so over a high heat, or a medium high heat, we're gonna add some oil. Let the oil come up to temperature real quick. Okay, and once the oil starts to take on a less viscous consistency, which is about there, and you start to see a bit of a shimmer, we can go in with the tofu, and we can go in. Oh, a bit of a splat. And now this process takes about 4 to 5 minutes. So what you're looking for is to get this roughly golden brown. So this will take about 5 minutes. 5 minutes over a high heat. Generous pinch of salt and pepper. I'm going to grate in some garlic. And we'll fry this garlic up for about a minute. Make sure not to burn. I think we'll switch it over to a low heat, just to ensure we don't burn the garlic. And now we can come in with our spices. Come in at first with the toasted spices, then with the paprika. Over a low heat, we can just toss and mix to combine, and then this will only take about 30 seconds. And once the spices have been infused in the tofu, we'll come in with about 2 tablespoons of tomato paste. And so we'll let the tomato paste fry up, just to remove any of that raw, quite harsh tomato flavor. Once the tomato paste is cooked down and the flavors of the tomato paste have mellowed out, we can come in with some this is canned tomato sauce. more over the top. This is about half a cup of water just to help cook the tomato sauce out. Okay. And now we're going to put a lid over it and let that braise over a low heat. Okay, so the tofu is done braising and the sauce has reduced, and what we're left with is this really nice, almost stew-like tofu mixture. And now that we're here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to add the cheese in. Obviously, if you were vegan, you could just add vegan cheese, but this is regular mozzarella. It's not authentic, I know. Mozzarella isn't a very Mexican ingredient, but I mean, man, we're making tofu tacos. Nothing about this recipe is authentic, so hold your horses. Cool. And once the cheese is well incorporated, we're going to let this sit, we're going to let this rest, and then we're going to go back to our salsa. Okay, so for the salsa, you will need tomato, you will need onion, you will need coriander, and garlic. You can cut all this up, throw it into a blender, and call it a day. That's fine. But for the sake of this recipe, I will be roasting it. So something like this is what I'm looking for with my tomatoes. Nothing super precise, quite rough chunks, because it is going into a broiler and then going into a blender. So again, nothing precise, just trying to maximize the amount of surface area on these tomatoes so that everything gets a really nice char and everything gets well roasted. Cool. And same thing with the onions. I'm not looking to finely dice or whatever. I'm just going to break these into petals to maximize, again, the amount of surface area on these onions so that everything gets really well roasted. Everything picks up a good amount of color, a good amount of char. And same thing with the garlic. Cool. And with the garlic, I just wanted to get it into rough little chips, little chunks. Okay, so before I whack this in the oven, I'm going to coat this really quickly in some oil. Right, and so what I'm doing now is getting everything coated in a bit of oil. That was about a tablespoon of oil, and that just helps with the roasting process. Cool. And now I'm going to cut up some avocados for the guacamole, because no taco night is complete without guacamole. And for added authenticity, I am going to do it in a mortar and pestle. Cool. And I'm just going to smash this. So here, and we'll smash. Bit of salt. Bit of pepper. Cool. Okay, so the salsa's done roasting, and pretty much what I was talking about before is what we have achieved. If you can see there, there's a bit of burn. It's fine, we just won't add that. But what we've gotten is blistering on the tomatoes. There's a lot of deep brown complexion within the onion. Everything's well nice and roasted. There's a bit of caramel. There's the early stages of caramelization going on here. The garlic is nice and roasted as well. And that is pretty much ready to be blitzed. Some salt. Some pepper. And then some herbs. This is just a handful of coriander. Give that another blitz. Bit of taste. Perfect. That is delicious. Ready for some tacos. So, with these tortillas, store tortillas are pretty crap. So a quick trick to try and improve the texture of it and the quality of it. Not to the spec of homemade tortillas, but possible, is I'm going to run this over a low flame on the stove really quickly, just to get a bit of blistering, just to get a bit of heat through it, just to really loosen it up, make it a bit more pliable. And so what I'm doing now is over a low flame, I'm just going to let it toast for about 10 to 15 seconds, nothing too crazy. And after about that much, 10 seconds, we're going to flip it. And see, there's little bits of blistering. That's sort of what we're looking for. We're not looking to get it really crisp. We're trying to just get it to a pliable state. And with that, it feels a lot nicer, and more importantly, the texture will be a lot chewier. It'll taste a lot nicer. A lot better than what you'd get putting it in an oven or just using it raw. And now we can plate. So let's come in with a quick layer of the avocado, the guacamole. A healthy portion of our tofu taco mix. Bit of our salsa. Bit of red cabbage for bite and some texture. Bit of coriander over the top. Of course, omit coriander if you're not a fan of coriander. I am, so I'm gonna add some. And this is a tofu taco. Authentic? No. Delicious? Yes. I guarantee once you try this recipe, you will, without a doubt, add this to your rotation of taco nights. I know it's tofu. I know it sounds ridiculous, but it's really good. I'm not even kidding. It's actually like, we tried it before. It's actually really good. This is a really good way to convert hardcore meat eaters into eating more tofu. I guarantee you. When you make this at home, you're gonna fall in love. Because I sure have. Oh, mate. I'm not even that great of a cook, I'll be honest. I'm a pretty lousy cook, but if I can put together something like this, something this delicious, this fragrant, then I'm sure you guys at home trying this are gonna love this recipe. This is awesome. Okay, internet, so that was taco night. Check the description for the full recipe. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and peace out. Peace out. What the fuck is this?